This morning, doing a fabulous job with his center.
And here's a guy that has been nothing shy of fabulous on our show throughout the year. Riga Kalfas, as David talked about at the top of the show, he was our king for 6 consecutive weeks, you may remember.
And if you remember, he started the show out one of two ways, either with a strike or leaving a 6-pin.
That's exactly right.
And we saw the latter today, but that doesn't mean that we won't see any big games, ladies and gentlemen. I can guarantee, as the Cajun chef says, I guarantee big scores today.
Boy, Dave is ready to go today, folks. And Riga Kalfas easily mows down that 6-pin and starts frame number 1 with a spare.
You know, in contrast to the last time we watched Riga, too, it was a highly emotional match, and obviously no love lost in that particular match. This, on the other hand, he and Len Ramsey are I don't know how tight they are, but they get along well. You see a little hand slapping, congratulating on a nice shot. But Lenny is emotional. He'll move around on the lane, and he makes the ball move around in the pins.
Well, that's certainly true right there. Boy, Len Ramsey, we've seen a lot of guys this year who really let that ball go and get a lot of pin action due to those revolutions on the ball. He's certainly right in that category.
Exactly right. And should he win today, and he's got to go through some tough competition, he would appear next week in the house that he totally dominated last year, Tommy, annihilating Glenmore Ball, averaging about 260, I think, for the show. Going like, high on the left lane. The same lane Riga went a little high on. Lane 7, he cuts through, leaves the 2, 4, 7. Now, this is choppable, but Lenny's been working on his spare game quite a bit, and he's pretty sharp.
Lenny's 29 years old. I can certainly attest to Lenny is a fine, fine gentleman. You will not meet a nicer guy. And he is the Hoinky Super Classic 87 champ, and he won $80,000. So he's not only nice, he's rich, too.
That's right. This is the guy you look for, isn't it, right? Yeah, $80,000. That Hoinky Classic is something else. And speaking of that, in his 11 games in that tournament last year, an average of 233.
He was just lucky.
You going to tell him that?
No way. He bowled incredibly well. I was there for the entire tournament, Tommy, and the man could not have made more perfect shots for an entire day. It was fantastic.
Riga looking for 10, and there it is.
Bingo. That was excellent, of course, and our two players are going to be going hammer and tong at it. Riga takes the advantage with the strike working in the second.
In the roll-off this morning, Len Ramsey defeated Bill Heflin with a score of 259 to 191. Bill is here keeping score this morning.
But yesterday, what did he do yesterday, Jan?
Well, he was the high qualifier over at Glenmore, and he shot a 773. And Alan Runkle was second. He will roll off next week, and he had a 728.
There you go. Riga finds the left lane early, as we've seen so often.
Boy, Riga Kalfas. A reminder, now I know a lot of you saw the particular telecast, but Riga gave us probably the most exciting moment in a long, long time, which we can remember, when he went to the final ball in a bid for a 300 game.
Incidentally, he did have a 300 on this pair last weekend in qualifying. Right? Yes, he did.
He won't get it today, or at least in this game, but if he should win, look out.
Len Ramsey also had a 278 on this pair. And Ron Bonnard, who we will also see, had a 266. So we had a high-scoring pair here on lane 7 and 8.
Len Ramsey looking for that 6-pin to pick up the spare, and he does so with relative ease. Tight match so far, David.
Extremely tight.
You awake?
Rick, doing some calculations
okay.
Here. You know, I'm still working on my math. Both players are executing well, but right now the advantage does appear to go to Riga Kalfas. His concentration is superb, as we've seen in past shows, and he's lined up very well on both lanes, Tommy. If you got to pick anybody with an advantage early, Riga Kalfas has it. You don't count a ball like this out. No way.
Absolutely not. Len Ramsey stepped right up there on lane number 7. knocked one down in a hurry. See him shaking that head a little bit. He's saying, man, I got to find that line on lane number 8, saying, help me.
And he's talking to Alan Runkle, who certainly can give him some help.
I think he may be beyond help, though, Jen.
I think you're right.
Boy, he's taking some shots early here, Rats.
Yeah. I feel good today. Feel good. Yeah. The right-hander's 4-7, the left-hander's 6-10.
Let's hear another rendition of that very quickly.
Little James?
Yeah, little James.
Wow! That's it. That's all I know. Good. Anyway, the right lane, he goes a little high. There you see it, the 6-10. Not a very difficult spare. He's going to shoot cross lane at it. He's going to have the momentum of the ball going from left to right. And he's also got some area there. Should be no problem.
While we're in Indiana, I would like to give a get well wish to my uncle Jack Link, who lives down here in Indiana, and he's been ill lately. And you talk about a hootie drinker. This guy can drink some hooties. Get well, Uncle Jack.
Stack them up. You can see at the score, we've got 11 pins. Now make it 9 pins. There we go again. 9 pins, advantage Riga Kalfas. But Lenny Ramsey has the strike working in the 4th frame.
Riga Kalfas, 21-year-old Newport, Kentucky native, and giving us some great moments this year. He would certainly like to add a few of those and add a few dollars to his bank account. He walked out of here with better than 3,000 bills.
Ouch.
That looked good.
Absolutely stone, perfect, solid 7. Let's take a look at it here on the replay. Absolutely fantastic. Watch his reaction. Does he like the shot? You bet. He's going to show you what he thinks of it. Now, this 4-pin, second one from the left-hand side of your screen, right there is going up and around the neck. He expected a strike, and he's disappointed.
Well, Riga looking to make it back-to-back spares in the 4th and 5th. He does.
Lenny Ramsey, and Jen, I don't have to tell you this because you were there, but again, for the Hoinky Super Classic, to watch Lenny Ramsey and watch his eyes in the final 3 games, it was like a shark ready to bite, Tommy. He was so intense, and I'm not seeing that yet. I'm not seeing that yet, but it's getting close.
Boy, a strike here would certainly notch that level up. Bam! That's going to happen.
A solid 6 again. Both players being a little tentative. Not really going after it. We've talked about the powerful release of Lenny Ramsey. This is it. Take a look at it. Look at the cupped wrist underneath, and then watch this come up through the bottom of the ball and just generates so many revolutions that a normal person might not be able to control it. There you go.
So a game thus far of spare shooting. Riga Kalfas had strikes in frame numbers 2 and 3. Ramsey in the 1st and in the 4th. Aside from that, we've seen nothing but spares.
Well, and we teach that when we teach the game. You have to cover your spares in order to accumulate the totals, and we're seeing it here. Both these players covering it up well. And then wait for this.
Yes, sir.
The powerful striking ball of Lenny Ramsey was evident on that particular shot, and now we get to look at Riga Kalfas.
Our Hudipole distributor here in Indiana is the Goldheart Distributors, and we have with us Robert Moulin today, along with Tony Plank, of course, and Connie Wagner from the Hudipole Brewery.
Boy, Tony and Connie have been out all year long, each and every week.
Have.
That's what their wives was telling me the other day.
Is that right?
I've seen them for 16 weeks. Moulin, I like that name.
Yeah.
A little bit French, huh? Moulin.
Better known as Cooch, I understand.
Good. Well, I can understand that. There you go. The Riga Kalfas that we've seen in the past strikes and puts the pressure back on Lenny Ramsey with that strike in the 6th frame.
Boy, we've talked about time and time again, each and every week, the mark of good players. After a couple of shots they thought were pretty good, but nevertheless had to pick up the spare. They come right back when they need to with 10 in the pit.
Has he, did he accumulate some more jewelry around his neck, Tommy, or was that there last time?
Well, see, you know, Jen was on him so bad about buying his fiancée, Shelley Moyer, you know, a little little gifts here and there, and
Treated
Riga
himself
said, well,
right.
hey, yeah, that's exactly right. I'm going out and buying myself a few items.
I do understand that he bought Shelley a hammer bowling ball, which runs about $100, so
All
good for
right.
him. Other than that, they're out of saving their money, I understand.
Good.
Uh-oh.
Devastating mistake for Riga Kalfas on that particular shot. Let's watch it, see if we can see the concentration on his face as we've seen it so often. There it is, the eyes. Look, he looked up. I'm surprised. I haven't noticed that before, and maybe that's why it was an errant shot. The elbow did break. He pulled up. We'll see if we can pick it up on the next couple of shots and see if he raises his eyes like that every time.
I have noticed that.
Maybe, okay. Just
Well,
a little bit of a break
with
there.
the experience that Len Ramsey has in match play, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him jump right on that errant shot.
Open frames.
Really going out on a limb, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Jim. Well, about as much on a limb as you did at the beginning of our show.
Oh, when that shark bites. When
Len
it's
Ramsey. Oh, my.
curly. There it was. We saw the right here, and let's take a look at it. The shark bites on this one. Lenny Ramsey is going to throw an absolute rope this shot. Excellent release. Look at him. There are the eyes I was telling you about. The projection down the lane, delay of the roll, watch the head pin to the wall, comes off the wall, just absolutely hacksaws the 10-pin out of here, and as you can see it, strikes in the 6th and 7th frame. That gives him the lead, big time, about 18 pins.
Boy, how this match has changed. Ramsey trying to increase the lead. You know, it's almost amazing, Dave, that the guy who throws the ball as hard as Lenny does is not going to get that 7 to fall for him.
Well, you know, we've seen it in past years with our local left-hander that throws the incredibly hard revolution-type ball, and that's John Gant. Both of these players throw the ball harder than what anybody would ever recommend, but they get the job done. Well-schooled player, he goes to a different ball to shoot a spare.
Spare shooting, of course, Dave said earlier, absolutely critical.
Lenny does enjoy golf, as many bowlers do. It seems that those two go hand in hand. What do you think, Dave?
Well, that's right, Jen. There are two of the sports that you have no competition other than yourself. It's a mental mind game. You make the same shot, the same stroke. Tempo is what it's all about. And on this ball, we're going to see some tempo on here, and the concentration on Riga Kalfas as we see. Okay, now he's looking out on the lane, talking to himself. He's going to look down here. He should, or at least he did last frame. Not quite as much eye movement as the frame before, but I see what you mean, Jen. He rears up on this ball, just straps it for all it's worth. The head pin's going to go to the right wall, right there, come off, wedges itself in between. That is the 6th pin going from right to left. Good action on that shot.
I think he's so slow and deliberate that a little bit of eye movement really doesn't make a whole lot of difference in him, although I don't recommend it.
Yeah, the one shot was different. It was different about it. Oh, no. Stoned 8-pin on an absolutely fantastic shot, Tommy. Critical frame. We've talked about it 100 times. 9th frame. Look at it. Right here. Let's take a look at this ball. No deflection. No deflection on the ball at all. It's going to drive right through. Now, the ball should be taking that pin out that it just missed. The 8-pin.
Mercy.
Tough spot to get that bad of a break.
No kidding. Riga Kalfas, he's down, not quite mathematically out. But boy, he really needed that strike in the 9th.
You know, winning is important to the bank account and also your prestige, but when you make a shot, that perfect, when you have to make a shot, that in itself sometimes, Tommy and Jen, you know this, is almost rewarding enough, especially since he's in the finals already and he's made a lot of money. So it just feels good to make a good shot when you need it.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
now, how much does this change the complex of the match?
So much, you wouldn't believe it, Tommy. Watch this shot. He's going to just strap it for all it's worth. Watch on the replay. He hits the ball a little hard. He's a little more erect than he normally is. Now, the projection that we had the frame before, not here. Going to drive straight back. That is the 3-pin going to the right-hand channel and laying down. He leaves the 6, 10, 7.
Impossible?
No, it's not
Very
impossible, but
difficult.
match play right now, he kind of halfway went for it. I mean, what I mean by that is if he would have made a mistake and made it, that would have been fine, but you need the 2 pins. When we've got a critical match like this, now let's project a strike for Riga in the 10th frame. 175. It's a 1-pin match.
So don't you dare get out of that seat.
Now, if Lenny Ramsey strikes in the 10th, 11th, and 12th frames, it will force Riga to throw 3 in the 10th to win by 1 stick.
Now, this is the first match of this caliber in terms of closeness we've had in a long time. Ramsey's first ball. Oh, it does sit. And boy, he is lucky it did.
I am telling you, that would have been the piece de resistance for Riga Kalfas if that would have stood up as 7-9, but it falls out. Now, the situation is this. No mark for Lenny in the 9th to worry about count. So it's still technically a 1-pin match. Lenny Ramsey must make this spare if he has any idea going on to game number 2.
Looks on target, and he has it. See him look over and smile a little bit. I think he was, Jenna, I heard you kind of take a deep breath. You thought he had missed it.
From this angle, I can't really tell, but it did look like it was pretty near the ditch.
Lenny
Right
Ramsey.
there, you're looking at Walt Tarpley to the lower left there.
The red-headed, curly-headed
Red-headed,
fellow
curly-head.
there. There's Mr. Schiller, brought a
Mr. Schiller?
tempo for us today, but the focus is on Lenny Ramsey. He's got to have 10 pins to have a shot.
He was dead on the ringer right there. So now what is the situation?
Well, situation for Riga Kalfas is that he knows that the one thing that can dethrone, well, not dethrone him, but keep him from going on to game number 2 is a bad count or an open frame. Obviously throws him out, but let's look at it this way. If he gets an 8 or less on this ball, could be history. He needs a big count, 9 or better.
Riga Kalfas, a bid to move on. He's looking good.
9 or better.
There's 9. Hold on a second. Oh,
Misses it by inches, Tommy. Okay, nothing's really changed here. It's still a 1-pin match. If Riga Kalfas, touche, huh? Touche.
touche.
You make a 7-pin and you strike, you win by... Oh, wait a minute. No. Whoops, I'm sorry.
Possibility of a
There goes my
tie.
math again.
Possibility.
He's got to make this in strike to tie.
Okay, now that's taken care of. There we go. We've just got a recommendation from our director, Roy Alpers, that Mr. Newrath take
got
off
him
his
off
shoes
now.
and count.
Okay, here we go. Got to have 10 on this ball for a tie game. And then we go into sudden death roll-off, 9th and 10th frame.
The pressure on Riga Kalfas, but he has answered that call many times before.
Amen to that. 10 to tie. 9 is the loser.
Looking for 10 in the pit. Not gonna happen. Comes away with an 8, went high with it. Good match.
Excellent.
And Lenny Ramsey is the winner. He will move on. Stay with us on the Hudipole King of TV Bowling.